Welcome to Bonehead Weekly. We're starting the show now.
Aren't you supposed to tell me not to wait for the translation?
No, I don't have time to tell you to wait for the translation. We just go through.
Hold on. Here's the no, wait. I was going to say yo soy dickhead, but am I calling myself a dickhead that way? I don't remember.
Actually,
are you sure you're not ordering some sort of Chinese food?
No, that is, yes, that would be I am. So yes, you would totally, and you would be accurate.
Damn it.
Hey, by the way, last week's episode was Best Fictional Teachers. It's almost doing better on YouTube. I mean, it really isn't, but our YouTube viewers are so single digits that it got to double digits, and I'm like, YouTube people like teachers.
They just really like Drexel's class. They're looking for content on the 1990s one season series of Drexel's class.
Drexel's class. All right, so this week's episode is going to be tough for people listening.
Yeah, because we are such dorks.
No, it's a very visual topic.
Yeah.
We're talking art.
Yeah, specific movie posters, because all three of us have movie poster collections. We do, and it's something we love. It's just if you're looking at the YouTube, you can see them behind Joe. If my room wasn't so dark lit, you would see that my wall behind me.
You want that glare on your skull.
Yeah. You would see that I have movie posters behind me. James, if he wasn't somewhere in Guadalajara, he would have movie posters behind him as well. We just love the artwork. We love the artwork just as much as we love the movies. Maybe not.
No, but we're going to go through several of the artists. I'm going to talk about some of the artists and some of the posters. So if you think about posters, and we've talked about this a little bit on the show, and this all kind of got a little bit kickstarted because I wanted to do this topic, and also, I want to do a whole thing about collecting on YouTube that we've been putting off. We even shot some of the video at James's house, 4 years ago, James?
It's not longer than that. Yeah, it's been a while.
And then we've never really came back around to finish it. That's kind of Bonehead-esque. That's part of Bonehead, but we've never, that I'll get to eventually, or the Grim Reaper will take it away from me. But what I do love posters, like Chad said, but we did a small segment about our hardest to get or favorite movie memorabilia we do Bonehead Weekly Fun Size. Check it out on Good Movie Monday. That's right, Good Movie Monday, with our friends Glenn and Ben, who are going to be on our show later this month, hopefully. Good Movie Monday. Anyway, and we just got to talking, and I don't think a lot of people talk about posters because, first of all, this is a cliche, but it's true. Poster art is pretty much a thing of the past.
Yeah.
And even more so now, the last 3 or 4 years. And it had been for 20. They don't take the time to do great art. If you can see behind me, if you're watching this, and if you're listening, check out the YouTube. There's an American Werewolf in London. There's an Evil Dead 2 with a Wonderful Skull. You just see the corner of it, but the Return of the Living Dead poster there, that is, for someone, not really inexplicable because it's just fantastic artwork. It's gotten really tough to buy in the last few years. Behind me, behind my chair, is a Nightmare on Elm Street and a Darkman poster. There's just fantastic artwork here made by wonderful artists. And 9 times out of 10, America was the crappiest place they were doing it.
Yeah, and that's going to be one of my. I'm going to bring that topic up. Yeah, and I don't want to sit here and say movie posters, because I don't want to be that old movie posters. I don't want to be that old man who says, things nowadays they just ain't what they used to be.
They're Photoshop. They're
all. The premier example is Marvel. You have all of these superheroes, and you could do amazing things with the posters, but no, all the movie posters can be is the actor's face. And that's it. And I know this dates back to when movies first started. I mean, you look at posters from the 20s and 30s, it's all pictures of the actors. I know that. I mean, Joe's having I know that's one of his favorite movie posters, but behind him, American Werewolf in London, that still irks me that it's just a picture of those two guys. on the poster.
But it's a little bit more than that. Oh, it's got the moon. What are they looking? It's the juxtaposition is a little bit better than that.
But yes, for the most part, a lot of the posters, especially Disney nowadays, are all Photoshop pictures, and it's like, ooh, let's see what movie post. And you know what it's going to be? It's going to be pictures of their faces, and there's so many more things you can do with it. Hey, just one before we go on, there is one thing that I want to talk about, the frustration of this too. Because I really did try to do a lot of research. I came up with this topic when we were trying to come up with an idea. I'm like, well, why don't we talk about movie posters? I didn't realize how hard it would be to find who the artists were for a lot of these posters, unless they're like in the top echelon.
Can I do this real quick, Chad?
Mm-hmm.
Did you not already know who the artists were, you poser?
No. I mean, I knew some because they're again, that's the thing. That's the top echelon. But I wanted to do a deep dive.
You're Drew Streusens, if you will.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. There's really only 5 or 6. Like if you Google a movie poster artist, it only gives you the top 6.
Yeah, and I didn't want to use that list. I was like, okay, well, I want to find the person who created this poster. Couldn't find it. It would not list it. All it would say is theatrical movie poster. I'm like, well, Jesus Christ, who's the artist? I want to know the person who did that so I can at least give them acknowledgement. And it was hard. So yeah, I really had a hard time with this. I thought it would be easy, but no, it's not.
And it's tough because, and there's a couple of them. For example, Saul Bass is one of the top 6 that comes up. And if you think of Rankin and Bass, that's exactly who that is. And it comes up if you look him up as poster art, right?
Yeah.
Saul Bass. But did you all know he drew posters? I've been doing this. We've been doing this for a long time. I had no idea this Saul Bass.
What's some of the posters he's done?
Well, that's what I'm pulling up. The Magnificent 7, he designed, not used. Let me find a few more. The Solar Film, Brothers, Rosebud, The Shining. Schindler's List, but they rejected the poster.
It's The Shining. It's surely not the yellow freaky poster that we know today.
I'm assuming, but it doesn't bring it all up. Anatomy of a Murder. Yeah, it has to be. You know why? Because he also did Anatomy of a Murder. And if you look that up, Vertigo. That one. These all The Man with the Golden Arm, which is a Frank Sinatra film about a guy who abuses drugs.
I was gonna say who masturbates frequently.
No, that's funny. But I just had no idea that he did poster art. I didn't have a clue. I think the person that most people know, and James already said his name, is Drew Streusen. Drew Streusen is the one who's been famous enough to actually have a documentary made about him.
Yeah.
And there's probably most regular folk are going to know a Drew Streusen poster.
Well, they would know the poster, but do they really know?
They don't know Drew Streusen. They don't know.
Yeah, they will.
But if you lined up posters by Drew Streusen, people would be able to say, "Oh, that guy probably did all that art."
Absolutely
right.
He does have a kind of distinctive. Though I'll be honest, there's a few people that come close to his style, and a couple. Actually, one of them is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you're going to bring him up because I think one of mine is close to Drew Streusen too. But let's talk about Drew Streusen. What are some of the posters that Drew Streusen has done, guys?
Well, I'm going to go through them. I have the full list pulled up here. The first one is actually Robin and Marian. And it's a movie we've talked about on here with.
I actually enjoyed that movie.
The Muppet movie. He did both versions, by the way. The Frisco Kid is another obscure film that we've brought up on here. He only did one version of Star Wars Episode 4: New Hope. Everybody thinks about the later ones, and specifically with the prequels, but that's not true.
And with these, this is like actual character. This is actually drawn art. This isn't photos. This is literally drawn pictures.
This is drawn pictures. The Great Muppet Caper. Cannonball Run, which is a fantastic, by the way, poster. I'm not being sarcastic. It's a fantastic drawn poster with all the characters. One of the famous ones, The Thing, and First Blood. A couple of these I'm going to just skip because I don't know. DC Cab, Chad. Did you know he did the DC Cab one?
No. Oh my God. That's
the one with Mr. T holding the DC Cab.
That's on one. That's on my wish list of movie posters I would like to own.
The one everyone knows is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Did you do that on purpose?
Maybe. And I'll get back to one of the other famous artists because I think everybody thinks Streusen drew Raiders of the Lost Ark. He didn't.
No,
I
he
was gonna say
didn't.
that was the one I was going to talk about.
Yeah,
Because
Okay.
he may be my Drew Streusen's phenomenal. Drew Streusen's still around, but I wanted to talk about this other individual.
I agree because
I figured,
I'll let you talk about him because he drew one of my favorite posters for a movie I don't necessarily like as much as a lot of people my age, but it's a beautiful poster. Hangs.
Yeah, I figured I put him on my list on the off chance that you guys wouldn't, but I figured knowing James, I figured it was going to be his favorite. So yeah, but I'm glad because I can talk about somebody else now.
Police Academy, Back to the Future, The Goonies, Big Trouble in Little China, which is one of my favorite posters of all time. It hangs over there on the other wall.
You know what's funny is a few of these you listed, and if James is going to mention the guy that I think he's going to listen, this guy got credit on a few sites for doing Goonies.
Did he really? I wonder if it's alternates.
Maybe.
An American Tale, Masters of the Universe, Adventures in Babysitting, Batteries Not Included, Coming to America, Back to the Future 2, Harlem Nights, Last Crusade.
Yeah, that's another one that's interesting that he's getting. It must be a variant of Masters of the Universe because the poster that Masters of the Universe does is kind of lame. It's just Dolph Lundgren holding the sword with Courtney Cox.
Skeletor behind him.
Yeah, with Skeletor behind him and Courtney Cox and Star Trek Voyager dude.
Right. This may not be accurate. DuckTales, Back to the Future 3, Hook, Hocus Pocus, The Flintstones, Mallrats, by the way. I didn't know Streusen drew Mallrats.
Yeah, that's another one though. That's probably the best Kevin Smith movie poster there is because it's actually drawn it's a comic book with all the people on top. It's an amazing piece of art.
He did the special edition original Star Wars trilogy when they came out with special editions. The Phantom Menace, Sorcerer's Stone, Attack of the Clones, Shawshank Redemption, which makes sense because if you know anything about Shawshank Redemption, Shawshank Redemption is directed by Frank Darabont. Frank Darabont went on to do The Mist. And in the book, when he adapted The Mist, the guy's as a poster artist, and it's clearly Drew Streusen drawing the character from the Dark Tower, the Gunslinger. And it's straight Drew Streusen. So go back if either one of you or people listening don't know what I'm talking about, go back and look at it.
Yeah.
It is the Gunslinger, and it looks like the Thing poster, but it's the Gunslinger, and it's just straight Drew Streusen in his art. And it's a cool reference for us nerds. He did the Hellboy alternate, the Blade Runner Final Cut, Crystal Skull, Hellboy 2. I didn't know he did The Walking Dead, but once again, Frank Darabont, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And The Force Awakens, he did one of the versions of that.
Cool.
So that's what we have on that's on Zimbio.
Yeah.
Now, is there more Drew Streusens out there? I think there's several different alternates.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, because a lot of these movie poster artists, they did the major things, but there's also other variants, other re-releases that they did artwork on. So they just, they're mainly known for the first releases. James, go ahead.
Which is actually a good way to lead into the person that I would argue rivals and sadly had a much shorter life.
Yeah,
He's
unfortunately.
only 40 years old, right? 40
no, I thought it was 59 or 49.
Hold on, 47 to 85.
Yeah, so that's not even 40 years, guys.
Okay.
He died in
his 38.
30s. Yeah, he died 37. In his 30s.
He was 37.
Richard Amsel is who we were talking about. And by the way, Richard Amsel also did a Muppet movie poster.
Mm-hmm.
It was not the one it's not the one most people know, but he did do one. Richard Amsel got hired for his first job for Hello Dolly. They did a nationwide search for somebody to create art for Barbra Streisand's musical Hello Dolly for 20th Century Fox. And after a nationwide search at 22 years of age, they selected him, and it launched his career. His artwork, he also did the covers for TV Guide when they were art instead of photos. He was well known for that, to the point that he eventually gets hired by Time magazine to start doing covers for them. And he did a portrait of Lily Tomlin for Time magazine, and the original is now on display in the Smithsonian. No slouch. Why do I love him? Because A, Raiders of the Lost Ark. B,
Yeah, which
The
also
Sting.
hangs over there on my wall, by the way.
The Sting.
Yep.
Dark Crystal, Flash Gordon.
Can you pause real
Pretty-
quick?
Yeah.
The Dark Crystal is the movie I was referring to earlier. It's a beautiful poster, just beautiful, and it hangs when you descend into my basement. It's on the left. Most of all those are PG or G films, or Disney films, or at least family-friendly films as you descend to the basement. And I just love that poster.
Yeah, you have the help me, Scrixie.
Yeah, it's got this whatever they're called on the front.
Yeah, the big buzzard people just hanging above the two main characters, and then you have small variations of all the other characters in the film. It really tells the whole movie in a poster.
Yep. Well, I was gonna say, and that's what I wanted to say. Amsel's art, if it was a time period film, he captured that time period. It's not a movie that a lot of people know, but Walter Matthau and Julie Andrews did a movie called Little Miss Marker, and it's a historical piece. And if you look at the poster, you know it's a historical film without any other information. Same thing with his artwork for John Wayne and Lauren Bacall in The Shootist, as well as Papillon and Judy Garland in A Star Is Born.
His Murder on the Orient Express is also beautiful.
Life and Times of Roy Bean's another good one.
Yes.
Judge Roy Bean.
Yeah.
Oh, and he did, now it's not the poster that a lot of people know, but he did a poster for The Great Gatsby, the 1974 one.
Chad, look up his Long Goodbye since you're such a fan of the movie.
Oh, okay. And by the way, it's not a movie a lot of people know, but Sylvester Stallone's Paradise Alley. If you're a Stallone fan, I mean, outside of Rocky and Rambo, that poster is, it's pretty. It's just a pretty poster. And so again, Death on the Nile. He did a lot of the films that people still talk about. Mad Max, Beyond Thunderdome. When are we going to get Beyond Thunderdome? Anyway, just again, a lot of people see some of his art. He does often get confused with Streusen. Again, as we alluded to already, he died really young. And so, again, despite Flash Gordon, Dark Crystal, Raiders of the Lost Ark, a lot of stuff people still refer to.
Wait, was it The Long Good Friday or The Long Goodbye?
Long Goodbye.
Okay.
But you like both of them.
Those are two of my, I love those movies.
Did you talk about Flash Gordon?
No, I mentioned it, but you say whatever you want about it.
Is it the one with the cat?
Flash Gordon?
No, Long Goodbye.
Ain't no cat in Flash Gordon.
Ain't no cat worth a damn in Flash Gordon. The hell are you talking about?
Is it the Long Goodbye? Is it the one with the cat on the shoulders?
There's one with a cat. There's actually several variations of it, Chad, if you look it up.
Okay.
I will say this. Also Fuzz with Burt Reynolds.
I will say this too. Richard Amsel also did the McCabe and Miss Miller poster, which is it is beautiful. It's like has wood paneling. It has a side scroll, kind of a side angle of Warren Beatty, full beard, looking tough, and then Miss Miller, whose name is escaping me, just like looking dead on at you. It's a beautiful, beautiful poster.
So he unfortunately died of AIDS. He fell ill while he was working on the poster for Jewel of the Nile.
Oh, really?
Yes. He was going to do the poster for that before he fell ill. That being said, he is much like Drew Streusen. There is a documentary about him. It's called Amsel, Illustrator of the Lost Art.
I need to find that. I've actually never seen it, and
in 2021 he was still winning awards, and he'd been dead for, at that point, what, 34 years. He won Album Cover Hall of Fame. They put him into the Hall of Fame for doing cover art because he had done the cover for Bette Midler's album The Divine Miss M, as well as several soundtrack albums. Even if some of them for movies, he also did the poster art for, like The Sting. Obviously, they just used the poster art. But he also, for instance, I believe the vinyl of the Muppets may have his artwork on it. That may be his artwork from that. So if you have the original LP, it's not Streusen's art, it's Amsel's. So he also, he is the AIDS Memorial Quilt. One of the squares is dedicated to him for all of his work. and it was dedicated on the square representing him was December 2nd, 2019, and it was created by Adam McDaniel and donated toward the AIDS quilt on what would have been his 72nd birthday. So there you go. But yeah, if you don't know Richard Amsel, if you only know Streusen, and Streusen's a good one to know, but check out Richard Amsel. I mean, again, Indiana Jones. To be able to do Harrison Ford and John Wayne in your career, it's rare air for an artist to be able to do that and still be remembered again.
Remembered today. Yeah.
Yeah. To live 38 years, and The Sting's an iconic poster to this day. Like, you remove the words from it, and if you're a movie fan, I can hold up that art and you're, The Sting.
Yeah. I absolutely. I mean, they're hanging on two of his posters are hanging in my house, and for the longest time, I was an idiot and did not know enough about poster art, and assumed that Streusen did Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it was just not true. The next one, Chad, do you have another one you want to talk about?
Yeah, I haven't talked about one yet.
Well, it's about damn time, Chad. That's what I'm saying. You about to talk about one yet? Man,
yeah, no, you want to give it a try? Maybe
you want to work in pictures? You better start taking it off, son.
Maybe talk a little bit, since this is a podcast.
Yeah, so listen to this in their pods.
Joe, it's kind of Joe just said this about not knowing he had two posters on his wall by Amsel.
I only did not know I had two posters in my wall.
Oh my God!
This is the shittiest wallpaper I've ever seen. It's haphazard as hell.
So I wanted to look up this an artist for a specific movie poster, because I was like, again, I was trying to look all day, the last couple days, and I could not find a lot of movie posters, but this one I did. Stephen Chorny. He designed the Roger Rabbit poster that I have behind me. Roger Rabbit's one of my favorite movies. And the poster is amazing. It's a film strip drawn. It's a long piece of film strip that is strung out into the shape of Roger Rabbit. And as the film strip moves closer to you, you can see reels of the actual movie in it. And of course, it has the logo of Who Framed Roger Rabbit in the corner. It's a beautiful poster, and it's just a plain white background. There's not a lot to it, but in its simplicity, it's stunning, which is one of the reasons I love it so much. Before I get into his other movie posters, he actually began his career in 1976 when he actually started in the music industry, designing like cover albums. And from there, he designed over 50 covers for TV Guide. James, do you want to know what got him into the movie industry?
What?
Stephen Chorny, Lasseter.
It's a good movie. Y'all ever see Lasseter? Did he do the poster for Lasseter?
He did the poster.
That's a very distinct poster in its own right.
He did the poster to Lasseter, and if you look at it, it is phenomenal. It has a picture of Tom Selleck, really big picture of Tom Selleck, yellowish background. It's a stunning poster. But he went on to design the movie poster for Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Which again it's right up there with Dark Crystal in terms of stunningness for me. More recently, he did. Joe, he also designed the poster for I know we're going to talk about our wish list poster list, and I know this is at the top. He did Leonard Part 6.
Oh, God! If only I had it.
Yes, and James wants Leonard's 1 through 5.
But I can't understand it.
But what I loved about this, and it's just how crazy things are, because not only did he design the Roger Rabbit poster to my right, he's also the designer of one of my favorite bad movies of all time, Super Mario Brothers. He designed that poster as well, which again is beautiful. I love it, even though I know the movie's not great.
All right.
but the poster is amazing, and I'm glad I have it on my wall. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome. I bought a lot of fucking posters.
Most recently, though, he's did Once Upon a Time. He did the poster for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
But the cool thing about the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood does look like a Drew Streusen poster.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Well, and if you look at some of Stephen Chorny's posters, they have that same look. It's all painted, beautifully designed. He did two movie. He did the poster of Deadpool where he's serving Thanksgiving dinner to all the heroes. That was Stephen Chorny.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the list could go on and on. I don't want to list every single one he did. Look up the artwork of Stephen Chorny, Chorney, and you can see a lot of his great work. Again, it's just one of those beautiful things. And just finding out when I decided to look up Roger Rabbit and found out that he contributed to my wall of Hoskins behind me.
So the guy I want to talk about next is a guy named Bob Peak. Do either one of you have him?
Nope.
No.
James, you should, because not only did he do the poster for Rollerball, which is fantastic, he did 6 of the Star Trek films. Those great Star Trek posters.
Oh no, I have a couple of them. I have as like from when I was kids. They're in storage somewhere. But they did them as puzzles. They were available at Hallmark, and they were 1,000-piece puzzles, and I have them, and they came together poster size. Like,
and I think Stephen Chorney actually did a re-release of one of the Star Trek films too, by the way.
Yes. And what I was going to say is all those wonderful, and Chad, you're going to love him, that fantastic Superman poster with the emblem in the back. You know what I'm talking about? Like the Attractions one.
Oh, it's like green, and it has, it's, honestly, guys, it's one of my least favorite posters because
with the sky.
Yeah, it's this terrible shade of green with the Superman logo shooting up, and I'm like,
well, the red and the yellow and the stuff shooting down.
Yeah, I was not a fan of it.
He also gave us Enter the Dragons poster, and his most famous poster is Apocalypse Now.
Oh,
that's the one people remember. I mean, The Wiz, The Spy Who Loved Me. He did several James Bond films, actually. And he worked a lot in the 60s. Excalibur is another one that people remember. He did most of those posters. Funny Girl, The Spy Who Loved Me. I'm pulling out a few. But another claim to fame he had is he had a son who also was an artist. And his son went on to do all the Nightmare on Elm Street films. All those fantastic Nightmare on Elm Street posters.
Oh,
those
wow.
were all illustrated and drawn by Matthew Peak, Bob Peak's son. Next.
All right. I figured I'd lose this one to y'all before then. I'm just going to, y'all may know this, but I just want to see how far I can get naming movies before y'all guess who I'm going to talk about. One of the most iconic, and I know it's on your wall, Joe. I know it's on your wall, or if I'm pretty sure it is. If not, it should be. Did the art for the film that taught me if I was blue where I need to go to, Young Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, I figured you would.
Can I say his name?
Hold on, let me do another one. Just because I want people to realize. So, did artwork for Willow, the Twilight Zone movie. He also, by the way, did a lot of like setup shots. So, like, did not only the movie posters. By the way, most people don't remember this, and I have seen this poster before. The Star Wars concert poster.
Yeah.
He did that. He did Star Trek movie posters as well, including predominantly Star Trek 6, the one that was him. Spies Like Us, Spaceballs, Chad's favorite movie of all time, Solar Babies. Silent Movie, Short Circuit, Sherlock Holmes' Smarter Brother.
Can't believe he hasn't mentioned any of the big ones yet.
No. I've just got to the biggest one of all time, Chad. I, of course, refer to Rhinestone.
Oh, God.
Rhinestone, Red Dawn. This has been a Red Dawn. He did original concept work for Raiders of the Lost Ark. Princess Bride. Man, this dude was just prolific.
Man,
the pirate
really
movie.
Is. Yeah.
Pinocchio, Phantom of the Paradise.
Yep.
Newsies, Joe, my favorite year.
Yeah, I own half of these.
Yep, I was gonna say Mother Jugs and Speed. Mosquito Coast.
That's one movie that, again, if we can still talk about Usual Suspects, we should still be able to talk about Mother Jugs and Speed.
He worked with he did a lot of artwork to help set up Lord of the Rings. It wasn't the posters.
That's
Mermaid,
good, 'cause I actually had
Lion King, Legend, Lawrence of Arabia. I'll stop. There's more. There's tons more.
And one of them is behind you, Joe.
Oh, History of the World Part 1.
All right, who is it?
That would be John Alvin. Also did Gremlins, Goonies, The Golden Child.
Dark Man.
Ernest Scared Stupid. Oh,
Did
the
you
most
say-
important one, the one he's most famous for. And if you go to his website, he's passed away. He had a heart attack in 2018. But
Yeah, he
his
was
most
young
famous
too.
poster-
He was either 49 or 59. E.T.
E.T. That's the one that if you go to his website, it brings up first. But
Did you say Blade Runner?
Oh, Blade. I should have. Blade
Blade
Runner.
Runner, and did you say Blazing Saddles?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't, but that was on the
Yeah.
list. Yeah. I
That's
stopped the
actually-
list because y'all were going to start stabbing.
I think Blazing Saddles was his first movie poster.
Yes, it was. Yeah, Blazing Saddles was how he.
Boy,
was
I got
what
a lot
got-
of the schmucks posters on my wall.
Arachnophobia
I love
is
his Gremlins
another
poster,
one.
by the way.
Yeah, his
Oh.
Gremlins poster is fantastic.
I should say also the poster that I actually liked from Aladdin is not the main one.
Joe, do
He
you
did
want
a
to
bunch of them for Aladdin, but the one of just the lamp with the hand in front of it,
Yeah.
that's his.
Joe, do you
But
want to describe his Gremlins poster?
Well, his Gremlins poster, for you folks who are listening, is it's two hands holding a box, and you can see Gizmo's two hands coming out of the box, and it's just perfect.
Yeah, I mean, there's the
It
one
makes
where you actually
wanna see that movie.
Yeah, and there's the one with the gremlin coming out of the box. It just doesn't have the same effect.
It doesn't. No, I totally agree with. I mean, there's a lot of Disney movies he did.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, and he did Blade Runner. And of course, he did the movie poster for Blade Runner. He did art again for the 10th anniversary of Blade Runner, and he took his same design, but he actually aged them what they look like 10 years later. If you go to his website, which is johnalvinart.com, you can actually see all the art he did for Blade Runner, and there's a poster attempt that wasn't used. That is Tyrell, the owner of the corporation, up front. Decker's in the middle, and kind of behind him in shadow is Rutger Howard. And it's a cool poster. All of these could have been posters. And of course, we got the one that we got, which is phenomenal. But he was just an immense talent. And again, captured something with his artwork that showed, I don't know, the humanity behind what the film was going to be. And some of them are comedies, Blazing Saddles. He worked with Mel Brooks a lot, obviously, but just great art. And then Beauty and the Beast and all of those. I mean,
oh, he also did the Inner Space. Did we say Inner Space?
Yeah.
I may have. I went through a bunch of them.
There's actually 2 Inner Space posters. He did one of them. So
He
yeah,
did
the one with a
fingers. Yeah.
He also did he did the poster for 10 as well.
Hmm.
And it's Dudley Moore swinging from a woman's necklace around chest level. Look it up. I'm not making it up.
No.
All right. Chad.
So we mentioned a bunch of American movie poster artists. I want to talk about one from overseas who puts a lot of those movie posters to shame. And some of the ones that he did from his variations of America, he mostly is known for his his Italian and German versions of American films. Talking about Renato Casaro. I'm probably butchering that Italian name. Renato Casaro. He's an Italian artist who created posters for Italian and German releases of American movies. He's most recently famous. He created all those fake posters for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the Rick Dalton posters when he goes and does the spaghetti westerns. Though all of those movie posters that you see during that brief interlude where the narrator's is telling the story to speed it up, all of those are Renato Casaro. He did the reason why I wanted to talk about him. One of the movie posters that I'll mention later on that's on the wish list of posters I wish I had is The Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
Yeah.
He did 2 separate versions of that posters for international release that are absolutely stunning. Highly recommend looking up the Baron Munchausen German release. It is just a thing of pure beauty. It has all the characters. It has Munchausen hovering over them like a puppeteer. Absolutely stunning. He also did his artwork is mostly known, if you look at it, it's mostly like muscular bulging, because he did a lot of action films like the Rambos 2 and 3.
Plus, just love big sweaty men.
Conan the Barbarian Cliffhanger, Over the Top. I think he did the American version of Over the Top, where it just shows the
fist,
Stallone with his like huge bulging muscle.
Sweaty man.
His version of Dune is absolutely amazing. His version of Terminator 2 surpasses that cheesy, just black and gray photo of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same poster essentially, but it's yellow tinted. It's drawn instead of just a picture, and you see Schwarzenegger's red eye beaming through the sunglass, but it's all tinted yellow. It's absolutely stunning. Joe.
Yeah. Well,
I want you,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I want you to take the time to look up Renato Cesaro's Italian version of Captain Ron.
Renato.
Renato Casaro. It is 10 times better than the actual movie itself.
There's never any reason. Just not that.
His poster of Eric the Viking, the American version of Eric the Viking movie poster is absolutely nothing. But his version, it shows all the characters are on the sea.
It is kind of cool. It's good artwork.
Yeah, God, it's stunning. But what Renato Cesaro is mostly known for most of our audience, is the international version of Army of Darkness, where it's Ash with his chainsaw holding it up in the air. You see the unrealistic rippling muscles.
Yeah.
And at the top is evil Ash.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a funny story about that, is that they told him that they wanted him to make Bruce Campbell look like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He did
to make
kind of.
to make people go see the movie thinking they were going to see a Schwarzenegger film.
His Escape from New York is actually better than the one actually.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention his Escape from New York. Yeah, his Escape from New York poster is absolutely
it's the one that goes on a lot of DVD box sets sometimes.
Yeah, so Renato needed to be mentioned because again, he's mostly over in Europe, but his posters far surpass a lot of the American versions of these posters. Oh, by the way, I want you both, James, this goes for you too. Renato Casaro, Arizona Heat. I have never seen this movie, but it has Michael Parks flipping the bird and Denise Crosby giving a thumbs down with a police car at the bottom with a side chase with a motorcycle with the motorcycle shooting into the police car. It is absolutely stunning. I just want the poster to have a poster.
I don't know that I call it stunning, but
I just want to have a poster with Michael Parks flipping me off.
You need to get up to that every morning. You need it up on your ceiling.
Yes, I do.
Wake up.
So anyway, that's my second pick. Joe, what's yours?
Well, so real quick, we just want to talk about the European market. They would sell these movies in basically packages. You'd want the new Stallone film. You had to buy 5 or 10 other films along with it. So the studios would make their money from distribution in Europe and other places. But the Europeans are so much better as far as just not being as restrictive to their advertising. So if you're not familiar with some Italian and basically Italian and Spanish posters, take an hour during your lunch break at work, wherever, and just start Googling Spanish posters, Italian movie posters. They're fantastic, especially for horror films and science fiction and action films, any genre thing.
Yeah.
Boys, am I wrong?
No.
That some of them are just batshit nuts, and it makes you want to see that poster way more. Well, the guy I want to talk about actually was because we talked about some of these folks that only live 40 and 50 years, and this guy lived to the ripe old age of 97. His name's Bill Gold. He had made a poster in 1942 for a little movie called Casablanca. You ever heard of it?
Yeah, I was going to say, and by the way, he's co-credited with the artwork for The Sting with Ansel.
Yeah.
FYI, they both technically worked on it.
And then also did a little movie called Mystic River in 2003. That's kind of how far he gave us that Clockwork Orange famous poster with Alex and the eyeball Chad.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, Exorcist. You ever see that poster?
Never heard of it.
Well, he did it. Yankee Doodle Dandy, Rope. He did a lot. Streetcar Named Desire, Dial M for Murder, Hitchcock.
Streetcar Named Desire. That's another one of those movies I need to add to that I have to eventually watch list.
Bonnie, yeah.
Is there actually a Streetcar Named Desire in that?
Because if there's not, he ain't gonna watch you stupid movie.
Yeah.
Hey, am I the one
I am trying to remember the Simpsons version where they do the musical, and I don't remember there being a streetcar named Desire in it.
So I'm changing the subject. James, I don't think Chad's seen this. Have you? I've seen it. Rod Steiger and the Illustrated Man, Ray Bradbury's.
Shows how much you know.
Have you seen it?
Nope.
I don't think that means what you think it means,
The
Chad.
Wild Bunch. Oh, there's a couple of versions. He did Dirty Harry as well. Luke.
I've seen that. That's a good film.
Deliverance. Thank you. The Exorcist. He did versions of The Sting. Barry Lyndon, Marathon Man, Outlaw Josie Wells. That's a fantastic poster, by the way. I wish I had that on my wall. The For Your Eyes Only, Unforgiven, Mystic River. So he is one of those folks that has posters that I've never even knew his art. James.
Okay, I have to talk about this individual. And again, I'm trying to actually find out real quick. Let me check because I want to know how long this individual was alive or if he's still alive, because I didn't know about this person until I started researching this. This is my lived experience, because I was like, oh my God, this has done everything. So, oh my God, he's still alive. That is awesome.
Let's get him on the show.
He is 96 years old. How cool is it? Okay, so his artwork has been on novels. It has been on, obviously movie posters since our Target. He did a ton of like Mickey Splain covers of mystery novels. But he also did Stephen King's Joyland.
Mm-hmm.
His movie posters include, God, I can't do all these. Breakfast at Tiffany's, The Pink Panther. I want the Thunderball one so bad. It's the Thunderball one. Look up, look down, look out.
Yeah.
The famous one. He did, actually, not only did he do the majority of the early Bond films with Sean Connery, he did a ton of the Mad Helm one with Dean Martin too. He did the Casino Royale one, which did not involve Sean Connery. He did Barbarella. He did a bunch of the Elvis movies. He did the original.
Poster is beautiful.
He did the original Odd Couple poster.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a couple other ones. Here's more Mad Helm ones. In the 1970s, he started to do some of the blaxploitation films, like Cotton Comes to Harlem.
Yeah.
A Fistful of Dynamite, aka Duck You Sucker. Let me find one or two other ones. He continued to do Bond ones into the 70s with Roger Moore. God, he's just Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. Man, these are great. Sunshine Boys. Okay. Oh, and The Incredibles. He did one of The Incredibles for international audiences. This would be the just absolutely phenomenal Robert Mcginnis.
Mcginnis.
If you look up Robert Mcginnis. So Robert Mcginnis was actually born in Cincinnati, Ohio, but was raised in Wyoming, Ohio. He was actually an apprentice at Walt Disney Studios, and then he studied fine art at Ohio State University. So he worked for Disney, came back to Ohio State University, and that led him to doing
Which
art.
makes me hate him already.
Well, he started doing artwork for Dell Publishing, which did the Gold Key comics and those mystery novels, or the PI novels. And so he started doing work with them, doing cover for Donald Westlake, Richard Stark, Richard S. Prather, Michael Shane, a bunch of people writing that. And then he got hired to do artwork for Ladies' Home Journal, Women's Home Companion, Good Housekeeping, Time, Argosy, Saturday Evening Post. He was the main title designer. He got into film because he did the main titles for the Hallelujah Trail and then did the movie poster for it. And he got hired to do Arabesque for Sophia Loren. He's still alive. He's a member of the Society of Illustrators Hall of Fame. He also has a documentary about him called Robert Mcginnis Painting the Last Rose of Summer. So he's another artist you can look at a documentary of. But again, if you love classic Bond films and you've seen those classic posters that helped launch the Bond franchise, that's Robert Mcginnis. And so I've covered Indiana Jones. I've covered Bond. I'm running out of icons that I can talk about, but definitely these artists. I mean, you have to think about what it was to see a film. We live in an age now where I see 1,000 trailers on YouTube and I can watch trailers, but posters used to be a big part of it. So I had to mention Robert Mcginnis, who helped launch franchises.
Whose turn is it?
It's my turn. I am going to talk about Carl Ramsey. Heard of him?
No.
Old man Ramsey's boy?
Son of a bitch owes me money.
Don't look him up yet. So Carl Ramsey, he actually has an interesting. He did not produce a lot of movie posters. He had a background. He mostly did actual artwork where, like, paintings and canvases where he did landscapes of cities, mostly downtown Los Angeles. He has a studio still. He died in 2014 of cancer, but his small dent in movie poster history is quite interesting. Joe, he is the artist for Return of the Living Dead.
Ooh.
But he also did the other great piece of artwork on my wall, Police Academy 5, Assignment Miami Beach.
Fantastic movie. I can't believe I let you buy that.
Oh my God, I love that poster so much. If you don't know it, if you look up Police Academy 5, Assignment Miami Beach movie poster, it literally has the whole cast of this movie swinging on a vine with a crocodile underneath them. They're each doing their own little shtick. Hightower has a harpoon gun. House is sitting there holding a sub with the condiments flying off of it. Tackleberry is dressed in full camouflage with a machine gun. Commandant Lasseter is holding his goldfish. It is a beautiful poster. But he also did The Wiz, Never-Ending Story, Caddyshack 2, the One Crazy Summer
Still
movie
shacking.
Yeah. One Crazy Summer movie poster is, again, another great poster with that huge evil looking sun looking down at the cast. And then also, again, one of the greatest movie posters, I think, in recent history, Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
So yeah, he did all those. And he's, like I said, he didn't have a huge impact in Hollywood in terms of movie posters, because he did work a little bit in advertising, but he was mostly focused on, landscapes and, pictures of buildings. And he still has a gallery in Los Angeles where you can still see and go purchase his work. So, but Carl Ramsey, small but notable mention in movie poster history.
All right. There's only one more person I want to talk about, and then I think we probably should segue into some of our favorite posters and actually wrap this episode up.
Yeah.
Last guy is a guy named Tom Young. He's an American advertising art director.
Who's probably quite old now.
He began in 1958, and during the 60s, 70s, he's an art director. And then One Sheet Poster for Star Wars is among some of his notable work. And he's a storyboard artist. But he gave us some of the best art from some of the best movies. James, you know who did the poster for one of the best Walter Koenig, Bruce Campbell films ever made?
Oh, dude, Moontrap.
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 Tom Young gave us Moontrap. Did you guys ever see the movie with not only Tim Curry, but Bill, what's his name? Not Paxton, the other one from Spaceballs. Why did I forget his name? Pullman. Yeah. Did you guys ever see that movie with him called Pass the Ammo from 1988? Nope. But I almost said Carl Young. That would be too funny of a joke that no one would get. Tom Young also did that. You remember that John Cleese movie Clockwise that none of us ever watched?
Yeah.
Dude, I love Clockwise.
I've never seen it.
Are you serious?
No.
Oh my God, it's an entertaining film.
He did that.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's
you remember that Bill Murray movie that came out right around the same time as Ghostbusters and was huge and much bigger than Ghostbusters, and no one saw Ghostbusters because they were all lined up for the Razor's Edge?
No, I don't recall. I thought Razor's Edge, wasn't it just him on the poster?
This is also Tom Young.
But is it? I thought it was just a photo of him staring.
No, it's drawn.
Oh, okay.
It's drawn. Do you remember, James, you're a huge Christopher Walken fan. You remember when he made that action movie called The Dogs of War?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's his picture.
He did the poster.
Hmm.
You guys remember that Lord of the Rings?
Never heard of it.
Well, you remember the animated one that nobody ever talks about?
Oh no, tons of people talk about that's Bosco, right? I didn't say the name right.
No, you didn't say it. I could. Bashki. Bashki. Yeah, yeah. He did.
Bosco was an old Warner Brothers cartoon. I don't know why I'm doing a Muppet thing.
That. He also did the Star Trek 25th anniversary special.
Ralph Bashki.
Bashki. I said Bashki.
Why can't I say his name?
Because you've been drinking all damn day.
God, I wish.
Anyway, I just wanted to bring him up because he did Moontrap for James. Sorry. Now, boys and gentlemen, are we good? Do we need?
Can I do one honorable mention, because this gentleman, to my knowledge, did exactly one poster, but is one of the most imitated posters in comedies ever.
Razor's Edge.
No.
What?
Rick Meyerowitz.
Yeah.
Anybody know Rick Meyerowitz?
Not by name.
I think, Joe, you may have his poster on your wall. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe. He did one poster. But see, Rick Meyerowitz, because he didn't do movie posters, worked for a little magazine called National Lampoon.
Oh, that's a good one.
And
that's a good one, guys.
The story goes that even before it came out, they knew he had to do the movie poster. And it has been, there's tons of movies that want to be Animal House that imitate
I don't have the poster.
Style.
I don't have.
Oh, okay. For some reason I thought you did. Maybe.
Oh, I can't afford it.
But yeah, they like his artwork. There's a quote unquote, it's supposed to be the female version of Animal House called HOTS, HOTS. It tries to imitate his art. There was a ton of imitators of his art, but to my knowledge, he's done a poster. They did a documentary called Fat, Drunk, and Stupid. The Making of Animal House, and
it's a fantastic documentary if you guys get to watch.
Well, he did the post. I'm sorry, drunk. He did National Lampoon, Drunk, Stone, Brilliant, Dead. He did the poster for that. But basically, if it's not linked to Animal House and it's a movie, he hasn't done a poster for it. But he obviously did tons of artwork for National Lampoon for the magazine. But as far as movie posters, that's basically the one he did, and then kind of the things that have been connected to it. But it is one of the most, honestly, he's not a movie poster, but you almost have to mention him because what he did became so imitated, and he did one effectively. Sorry, I just wanted to give Meyerowitz a shout out.
No, I don't blame you. As absolutely, completely agree. So what are some of we kind of talked a little bit about fun size, about some of our favorite posters. What's a poster you all want that you don't have yet? And mine really is Jaws. There's a couple more, but I need Jaws eventually before I die. I had the chance during the Great Recession in the 2000s to buy it at a convention, and I actually had the money, and I was like, I was being cheap, and I've regretted it for 15 years. God needed 13 years. God needed the money. I think it might have been at Scarefest.
Wow.
And I've just regretted it and regretted it and regretted it.
Man, you're putting me on if you're having me pick one, I don't know. I have a list.
Well, there's a few. Tell us about it.
Well, the first one, honestly, well, no, it's not even the first one. I can't even put them in order of what I'd like, but Monster Squad, man. Monster Squad is
the one that's sideways. Yeah.
It is a beautiful poster of just the whole gang of kids on a car and all the monsters above them in a dark blue tint looking down on them and like snarling. It's a beautiful poster. I would love to have that one. Darkman is still on my wish list. The Big Trouble in Little China poster.
Man, I wish I knew somebody owned those.
Yeah.
He said
these two
and his Big Trouble in Little China.
These two you don't. This is one of those. There's going to be two that you'll probably laugh at on my list. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original movie poster.
The one where they're coming out of the sewer?
They're coming out of the sewer. God, lean, mean, and on the screen.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would love that poster. The Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
Yeah.
RoboCop, Nobody, DC Cab, Willow, and then again, if you're gonna laugh at me, Blank Man. I just want Blank Man's movie poster. It is a cool poster, red, black. It doesn't have Blank Man on it. It's just kind of like a little generic, like circle stick guy with a cape, and it says coming to kick your butt, coming to save your butt. Oh, it's great.
Is it?
I mentioned it last, but yeah, no, Monster Squad, Darkman, the Turtles, Big Trouble, Munchausen, those are probably my top. There's so many I want that I can, they're just the Monster Squad poster, the VHS poster went for $80 the other day.
Really?
Yeah. $80 for a video cassette poster.
So I haven't actually bought posters in a while, and you've probably looked a little more. I buy something every once in a while. I don't think posters have went down in price. Correct?
No.
No.
Some do.
But that really, depending if it's a horror, science fiction genre thing, they have never went down in price.
Or a big popular movie that's with people our age, like the top 5 that I mentioned. Yeah, no. But there are some, because I don't buy, I just look because out of curiosity, I'll get bored and look on eBay. Like for example, one of my favorite posters is behind me, Ed Wood. You could get a copy of that for about $19-20.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, movies like those, like the ones that really have a big following, it's hard to get a good copy. You can't get a copy of.
Son of a gut. Sorry. I was looking at what I wanted. While you were talking, I was like, oh, I wonder what that does run for now. Somebody just sold one on eBay. Somebody did a buy it now on it. They listed it for $20. And I was like, dang it.
What was it?
The original Highlander poster. The black and white one where it's
Was
just
just
his
Christopher Lambert's face?
Yeah.
Huh.
That was 20? I thought that'd be a little bit more than that.
Yeah, well, that's what happened. Somebody listed it buy it now, not knowing what they had.
Yeah.
Because that was buy it now with free shipping.
That's when you keep looking. You just gotta get. I kicked myself in the ass the other day. There was a Darkman poster, perfect condition, and somehow it slipped by everybody. It was an original. It didn't even get purchased for $20.
Here's another Highlander. They only went 75.
Well, hold on. When did Darkman go out the roof?
Dude, Darkman's insane. Yeah, it's insane.
I started collecting in 96, 97. I know I was the first person I knew who collected one-sheet theatrical movie posters.
For one thing, they don't have any originals on there. It's all mostly reprints.
Yeah.
You can get the original like coming attractions one, which this says "Who is Darkman" with the actual poster behind it for about between $20 and $40.
Mm-hmm.
But a good copy of the original. I mean, somebody's even got the video cassette copy for $50. I've seen them go for over 100.
Man, I paid $100 for the Texas Chainsaw 80 release, 110. When I thought I was going to meet Toby Hooper in Chicago in the 2000s, and I thought that was a ridiculous amount of money to pay. I paid that, and
thank God you finally met him.
Yeah, fuck you. Just gonna throw that out there. Big uck and a big U.
My turn.
Yeah, I've been waiting for you to go.
So I want to say part of the problem with this is there's tons of movie posters I want, but most of them either somebody's given me or I've bought.
What's that like being fucking loved?
No. By the way, I say that to say I don't want people to be like, as much as he loves blah, 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 why didn't you mention it? Like Sleepy Hollow. Actually, one of the posters I love, and it's not, the movie's not perfect, but I do love the movie, is Suicide Kings.
Yeah.
The Christopher Walken.
I had the VHS copy of that poster on my wall for about 10 years.
Yeah.
I've already mentioned Highlander, the original Highlander. So I'd love to have that one. The Rocketeer is one I'd love to have, the original Rocketeer movie poster.
Is it the one that's with it's kind of illustrated to look like a 1950s window display?
Kind of Art Deco, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, Art Deco, thank you. I couldn't come up with the word.
I'd love to have that. I mean, just simply and most of it like that, I mean, they're not cheap, but these don't tend to be ludicrously expensive. But it's one of those things I have a hard time really thinking about it. Like, I mean, in an ideal world, and this wouldn't be a traditional movie poster, I'd love to have some of the adventures of Robin Hood, the things they did for the Errol Flynn movie, because I love that movie.
I prefer
and then
Costner.
Really, I'm
sorry. I was going to say I prefer.
I couldn't hear you over the sound of crazy. Anyway,
the Taron Egerton version of Robin Hood, man.
I watched that with Silas. He enjoyed it.
It's pretty bad.
It's an action film. It's not but anyway.
No, they turned him into a comic. Well, I know Robin Hood technically is a comic book character, but they really tried hard to make him into a superhero.
The other thing, though, that I mean, as far as everything goes, I would love some of the Bond posters, and basically, if it's a Vincent Price movie, I want that poster. I would love some of the especially the Roger Corman Poe Vincent Price posters. Like, I would love to have those. I also, though, would like to keep one of my kidneys. I'd like to keep both of them. I'll be honest.
Both of them.
Well, I know, but I'm greedy, and I'm really worried. You know, I don't exactly take care of myself. I don't. Anyway, but those are the ones that come to mind. Like, there's certain actors that I would love to have more of their posters and stuff like that.
You say there's certain actors I would love to have. Kurt Russell.
I mean,
it's on my wall. What? Why'd everybody get quiet?
Oh, there. I guess actually,
internet's cutting out.
I know. He looks really like hungover right now.
Yeah, he does.
I can't keep both my eyes open the same amount. Is how you look right now, Joe. Your screen froze.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there he
He's
goes.
back.
I should also say, like, I don't know why I don't have it, but like the Simpsons movie, the donut one,
Yeah,
the simple one, the advanced one. Yeah, some of those I'd like to have.
There's a ton of movie posters. If you have any questions, let us know. I've been lucky enough to get most of them. There's my internet.
You don't have DC Cab.
I know, but my it's probably time to go because the internet's becoming unstable. Anything else to add, gentlemen?
No. Let's end this before the apocalypse happens and we all go back to actually talking on landlines.
What?
I refuse. This has been Bonehead Weekly.